What's up, everybody? Thank you for coming to this week's Masterclass. As we get started, please drop where you're coming in from in the chat. Also, don't worry, your video and audio is turned off. So we can't hear you, we can't see you, but we are stoked that you are here. But yeah, go in the chat, let us know where you're from. Let us know what vehicle you're ripping around on. We are stoked you're here. We're going to get started here in just a brief moment. And just so you guys know, we have a full team who is here monitoring the Q&A. So if you have questions throughout tonight's masterclass around how the app works or something that we might have covered that you want some clarification on, make sure to drop that into the Q&A section below. Sometimes we will miss those questions if they're dropped into the chat. So please make sure that those questions get to the Q&A where we have a whole team ready to answer those questions. Again, thank you for joining. We'll get started here in just 1 minute. And for those of you who are joining, please let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know what you are ripping around on. So as we get started tonight, you have myself, Andy Zielinski. I am the product marketing manager for onX Offroad. I am so glad to be here with you guys. My main rig that I am ripping around the trails on is a 95 Land Cruiser, affectionately named Larry. Fun story, and I think Hunter is totally tired of hearing about this story, but I had to have the whole engine rebuilt. Yes, I did. It was painful. But that's not why we are here tonight. We're here to learn about the app. And my co-host, Hunter.
I'm Hunter. I'm on the marketing team here. I get to work with our ambassadors and on our content series. My rig of choice, I have a 22 Power Wagon. So I fortunately at the moment have warranty to fix my problems. But it's on 37s and love it. Just recently took it to Colorado, did Ophir Pass, and yeah, full size rigs are kind of my thing, and excited to be here.
Cool. So what's on tonight's docket? We are going to go over the web map. For anyone who is joining and you have access to a computer, open up your computer. It's super easy to follow along with what we're going to be talking about. We're going to help you guys plan, share, and do your off-road adventures. So we will show you the tools to use in what context. I find it's easiest to learn when I'm kind of following along, either on computer or phone. We won't be doing a mobile view, but just know that the features are one-to-one parity with what's on the desktop as well as what's on the mobile app. So if you are not in front of your computer, but you have your app open on your phone, you can follow along that way. It's super easy. We will be gathering Q&A throughout the course of tonight's masterclass. Again, please make sure to drop any questions that you have below in the Q&A section where we have a team dedicated to answering those questions. And then we have an amazing giveaway at the end. So be sure to check that out. And again, for anyone who's trickling in, let us know where you are coming from and what rig you are ripping around on. And with that, I am going to pass it over to my man, Hunter.
Let's get this pulled up here. Okay, Andy, you seeing a map come up there?
Looking good.
All right. So I'm going to throw a good amount of information out there. This is being recorded and will be on YouTube, so you will be able to go back and review anything I touch on. That's kind of drinking out of a fire hose going through this. But I'm going to touch on the main tools and features. I'm going to start on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see that big X at the top. We're going to jump in right below that. There's that discover feature. And this is probably one of my favorite ways to find new trails when I'm either looking for something that's near me or if I'm planning out a trip that I'm going to be going on. So you can just click discover and it's going to pull up this tab here, and it's going to pull up the featured trails first. And those are the ones that have trail ratings, photos, and trail description. And this is just an awesome way to be able to pull stuff up real fast and get an idea of what's near you. Right now, I'm looking in Moab. So you'll see pulled up Long Canyon, Poison Spider, Cliffhanger. And you can click on it and it'll pull you over to where that is, and it pulls up the overview. Gives you the distance, elevation change, and difficulty. And it's shows what it's accessible by, and also the photos, just to give you a good idea of kind of what the conditions are going to be. I actually personally ran this over the summer, and yeah, it is a very easy trail, and this is all accurate. So you know what you're getting into before you go. And you'll see here are the trail reports. So that is when people are actually running that trail, and they can mark whether it's open or if it's washed out or temporarily closed. So that kind of gives a real-time update on what things are looking like out there. And we'll jump down one more here. So there's that 1 to 10 rating. I'll jump over to Metal Masher here. So 1 is easiest. That is a kind of graded fire road. Real easy. Most two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive things will be able to handle it without modifications. And then a 10 means 10. That is getting to a rear steer buggy territory. So it you can kind of gauge what that means there. We'll jump down to offline maps here. This is the key here for when you're adventuring, going on your adventures. You click it here, and this is where all of your offline maps are stored. You just go to offline maps here, and it'll pull up 3 options of resolutions, and you can zoom in or out to kind of set how large or small the square is. So like low res, it's really good at pulling up like the highways and kind of like the rough trail areas. The high res, that's great for, you can zoom all the way and you can start seeing clearings and tire tracks, stuff like that. And then medium is a kind of middle of the road, does a good amount of detail where you can get a good idea of stuff, but it doesn't give you that full view like the high res does. And then you can save it just like that. And then it does not save to your desktop. You'll want to jump over to your device that you're logged in on, whether that's your tablet or a mobile phone, and then it'll prompt you to download that. So you want to make sure that before you go on your outing, that you have it downloaded ahead of time. And you will know that it is on your device. It'll have a green box around it. It has I call it the candy cane pattern around it, red and white, means that it's not done downloading. So that's just, it's kind of like same thing of when you're putting tools in your truck or making sure you have your recovery boards. Think about your navigation, your maps, and have that kind of be a part of your planning and prep process is your offline.
Yeah, and one thing to mention here before Hunter goes on, we just had a significant update to our offline maps. So if this looks a little bit different, Hunter, if you want to pull up an offline map again, if it looks different from what you are used to, over the past few weeks, we have been slowly rolling out an upgrade to the offline maps, which is effectively going to make them bigger. One thing that we consistently heard was I have to stack many tiles together to get a area of the map that I need covered. So we've actually taken in that feedback and applied that. So for high res, we're increasing the radius, as well as the medium resolution, upwards of 20 miles per square. So just so you know, be looking at that. We have that update that should be released at 100% to everyone now. So if you're not seeing that update in your mobile device, make sure to go update that through the App Store or Google Play, but just wanted to call that out because it is a great advancement to our offline maps.
Perfect. I'm going to keep going down line here. I'm going to go to my content that's just below offline maps on that left toolbar. And this is where all your data gets stored, whether that is your waypoints or your lines, your offline maps, sorry, not your offline maps, of your routes and areas that you draw. And this is where it all gets stored. So I always try and preach, stay organized early. The more you use this, the more information you're going to have in there. You can see I have 511 pieces of content in there. But this is where it all stays nice and clean. So let's see here. Let's pull up a good one to look here. We'll go over the Grand Canyon here. So this was a trip that I put together, and we actually did a video on it. You can find that on our YouTube series, our Go Farther video series. But I drew out a route, and then I dropped in waypoints of where we're meeting off the highway, where we're going to camp, and also our path out. So this all gets stored in there, and then you'll see on the bottom of this window is the share icon, where it'll generate a link and you can share that out. So if you are going on a trip with multiple people and want to say, hey, let's meet here, this is the route that I put together, here's camp. You can have it all in one folder and you can share that out, which has been a super, super helpful tool that we've put together. So again, the more you use the app, the more you're going to be dropping stuff in there. So the more you can keep your organization and your titling, really helps it so you can go back and find it, because it's very easy to start having just waypoint 1, waypoint 2, all that stuff. So that's my biggest preach is keep it organized early. And when you want to go and share a trip that you went on, or if you have a friend who's trying to find a spot to go, you can have a folder like, oh, this is a trip I did, here you go. And the things that you share, they can't edit, so they can see what you've put together, but they can't change or delete any of that. We'll jump down to my garage. So this is a newer feature we're putting together. You can put together the vehicle that you're riding. You can see here that I have my power wagon, and when I built it out, I put down the trails that I'm really willing to go on. So I'm not going to be taking down a single track, and we'll get down into what that trail filtering looks like. But you can set it up so you can just be pulling up the trails that you would be looking to take it on. So not the single track, not the ATV stuff. Scroll back up here. And then down here is the elite benefits. That is a really cool program we put together. So if you have an elite subscription, you not only get all the bells and whistles of onX Offroad, but you also get some pretty significant discounts with a lot of our partner brands, such as Rugged, Method, and Barnes. So as you are building up your rig and taking on more, you can use your elite membership to help save some money in that build process. Now I'm going to jump over to the right side of the screen. On this bottom right, you'll see there's a crosshairs. You can click that. I don't have location turned on my computer, But you click that, it'll center you on where you're at, and that has the same kind of screen location on a mobile device as well. And you jump up here, this is where you can get some really cool stuff. It's your base maps. So you can choose whether you want satellite or a hybrid or just topo. I know a lot of people that try to keep it a little more simplified when they're looking at it. But I personally like a satellite and kind of giving you an idea of the greenery and kind of the environment that you'll be in. But what you also have is you can go to 3D maps, which we have put a bunch of work into. Our iOS experience has been improved on, but this has been an awesome tool where like for this trip, I was looking with where we can camp and have something close to the Grand Canyon, but still not in the national park area, but we all know we had a good view. We can zoom in here and you can start seeing the elevation change here. So that's an awesome way to be able to scope areas out. We'll scroll over here. We like Tater Ridge here. I was able to zoom in and see like, oh, this does follow a really cool ridge dropping back down to the valley floor. So it's just kind of a even higher level of being able to route plan is knowing what you're going to kind of a rough idea of what you're going to be looking at, which when I'm looking for campsites, this is my definitely my go-to. And then here, this will pull up the weather for the area that you're looking in, which is also great. I'm currently in Southern California and it's pretty much always sunny and 75. So sometimes I'll get that stuck in my head. Then I could find myself a little shocked, not really planning ahead, but this is a great way where you can look at the forecast. You can look at sunrise, sunset. So if you're trying to put together your trip and you know you're going to spend 6 hours on the trail, you can have an idea of roughly how long you have in the daylight, so you're not stuck out in the dark setting up camp. And then we're going to go up to the top right here. And these are cool. I'm going to jump back to Moab here. Go back. So you can see there's already a lot that I have put in here. All these little bubble icons, those are all waypoints. And to create one, you click on that top right, you see this white rectangle up there, it has all the tools. We're going to start with add waypoint. You'll see that populate right there. But let's say I want to meet people right here at the trailhead for Poison Fighter. So I will drop that right there, and you can pick the icons you want. Pick a trailhead, and you can. There's a ton of options, and I believe there's even like a Bigfoot one. So some of them are pretty fun. But you can change the color. You can put in notes, and you can also add a photo to it. So you can create that, and I'll practice what I preach here and stay organized. I'm going to create a folder. We're going to do test. So we'll drop that in. That's the folder it'll be in. Meet here. So boom. So now there's a waypoint. Oh, looks like I already had a similar one. But you'll see that come up right there. And then we're going to jump over to the next one, which is draw, shape, or measure an area. And I'll give you a good example. Let's say that this is you're in BLM land here, and you're going camping with a group, and you found a good clearing. And we're going to use this parking lot as the trailhead as an example of it. But you can draw out the area. So you'll start getting a distance of how big an area is. So if you're going with 10 rigs and you're looking to park 10 rigs there. This is an awesome way to kind of give you a ballpark of what that clearing actually is. So you can save that as well. And we're just going to drop that into the Moab trip of just the area. Then the next one here is drawing a line, measure distance. This is just a real quick way to kind of get an idea of how far things are apart. So there's our area, and we're going to, let's say it is about 200 feet off the highway. So that's just an awesome way to help get an idea of how far things are apart, real quick and easy. I'm not going to save that here. But the next one, which is, I added that this year, it's been one of probably my most used tools, is Route Builder. So that is great for putting together your routes. So you click a point, and I don't want to overlap over the one that I already have there, but you can see it start. It'll follow here. It'll snap to. So you can click, and it'll start putting that line together. And let's say we want to go from the trailhead, and we're going to run back to town. So you'll see that start putting that route together. And in the past, you can only use that line tool, which took a long time, and you end up with a little bunch of zigzags. This is a really sweet way to be able to put those longer trips together. If you're looking to plan out a 3, 4, 5-day adventure, you can put this all together, and it gives you all those stats live as you do it, which also is a really good way of being able to plan out kind of your road miles. So let's say, especially in overlanding, you'll hit a trail section and you'll hit the highway. It's a great way to know. So right now I've only drawn out 11 miles. And if we're trying to do a whole day of wheeling, we know that there's more that we can kind of push to. And then it also goes right onto the trails as well. So super awesome tool. And it has the same saving and naming process as the waypoints. And you can change the route color and also the style of the line and the weight of it. So I've used this in situations where I'll have green as an easy line, yellow as kind of like a mid-range line, and then red as a hard line. And I color code them just so there's no question on which one that you're going down. And then again, you can add that to that folder, you save it, and then just to show you how it all comes back together here, you'll see there's my test Moab trip. If you're putting together a trip for your friends, hopefully you're putting more than one waypoint and one track in. But that just shows you how you can keep it all organized. And now you have something where once it's ready to go, you can share it, which has been an awesome way to be able to put together group runs or trail rides and stuff like that. The next one I'm going to jump over to is this tab right in the center, the top center of the screen, see activity dirt. You click that, and this is where you can filter. I kind of touched on that earlier from my garage. But let's say you are going on a moto trip and you don't want to spend a lot of time on wide trails and run into Jeeps, trucks, whatever. You can just check just single tracks. So you can see Moab, it's a lot of single track, or sorry, a lot of wide trails for Jeeps, but it'll show you this here is just a single track. This is for moto, and you can pull up stuff like that, which is really cool. I know a lot of people that when they go riding, they only want single track, and that is the way to find what you're looking for. And the same goes for 50-inch trails. And you can also do the inverse if you're just looking for full width and high clearance, which in my case I would. I leave just those two checked, and you can see all the ones that kind of pertain to what you're looking to do. And then another tip that I do is when I'm kind of scoping out an area, is I will just turn them all off so I can get a cleaner view and kind of get my bearing straight of where I'm looking. And then also, if I've already drawn out my route, I will turn them off. So then the routes that I've drawn out and that I have on my maps are really easy to see. But I'll go ahead and turn those back on. And then you'll see the map layers. So this is an elite account. So you'll have that private land data, which will show you the public and private land ownership in all 50 states. So you can zoom in here, and we're just going to click right in the middle of this open area. And then this is the Grand Theft Canyon Wilderness Study Area. So it is managed by BLM, and it shows you the acreage. So that is awesome, depending on what you're looking to do. So if you're looking just for BLM land, and you'll know the rules will apply there, or you'll know if we go over here, this purple, you click on that, you see that's national park. You'll know that will be playing on a different set of rules. Dispersed camping looks completely different there. And there's a lot different land usage. But then also you can zoom in here, and you'll actually see the private land ownership as well. So you can see, you can click here and it'll pull up who owns this chunk of land as well as tax address. This is all public record. We just pull it all together, make it really easy to see. I have known on multiple occasions people have been driving down the highway and they see a vehicle sitting in the field and they will look up who owns that land. I think on 3 accounts that I personally know of have sent a letter and then actually purchased that vehicle from them just by looking at who owns that. So it's a real good way of knowing where you go and the different uses of that land, and knowing if you are going down a road, you know exactly where this goes. It's just an awesome tool to know that you are able and to know where you can access and where you need to stay out. We'll jump over to the search here. And this, you can just type in where you want to go. We will pull up Johnson Valley here. That is near me, and I was in some King of the Hammers meeting, so it is top of mind right now. But yeah, so you can search that and it'll pull up that area and you can zoom in and be able to do that kind of planning work just by searching. And that kind of gives you the top level of how to use it. Again, this is in WebMap, but as Andy mentioned, the device use is very similar. The tools, it's once you know how to use it on one, you know how to use it on the others.
Cool. A couple questions came up, Hunter, throughout the course of what you were sharing. One in particular, how would you go about importing old GPX tracks that you might be pulling from another product?
Oh, that is real easy. You just go to my content and you click that import function. And then, so yeah, GPX or KML, you can just drag and drop. That is super easy. And once it is loaded in WebMap, it'll also show up on your device as well.
Cool. And then I think maybe this could be covered in just a general use case, but let's just say you and I are going to go rally out in the desert. Talk us through how, like, what tools you're going to be specifically using to kind of build out our adventure, and then how you would share that with us.
So let's say Andy and I are going to meet up in Johnson Valley, and we're going to do this quick 2-day, we're going to camp for 1 night, and this is what I will do to kind of plan out what that would look like. So I'm already in Johnson Valley, and let's say him and I are coming from 2 different directions. we're just going to do a real quick, easy meetup point. Right off the highway, there's the road heading into where we want to go. So then I'm just going to add a waypoint, a new meeting spot, and here, and then this is great where we can air down, kind of meet up and get prepped. Again, we're going to create a folder. So that is our trip. And so that's where we're going to meet. And he and I both have pretty similar rigs. We both have full size 4x4s that are lifted. I think, yeah, you have lockers too. So we can get into some stuff. So this is where I want to go. And we're going to check out some of the feature trails over here. So Chocolate Thunder, realistically, him and I are probably not going to want to check that out because I already know what this trail is. But click on it. So let's say him and I, we are going to go just check it out. We just want to look and see what it's looking like. So I pull up that and I know, wow, that's a 9 out of 10. I know that is something that is going to be more than we want to do. But I can see that there's a lot of trails around it. And then I'm also going to jump into 3D here and see, oh, all around here is open desert. So that's something that we want to go check out and look at. So I will just drop a waypoint where you want to just check out. And we're going to put a rig flexing right there. And again, I'm going to drop it in my folder. I'm going to save it. And then we're going to say, we're going to camp, I think over out here is going to be a cool spot to camp up along the ridge here. And I'm going to zoom in and I can start seeing, oh, there's some tracks through it. I know this is open desert, but we're going to drop another one. And let's say we're going to nestle ourselves up along this ridge here. And then we'll put the camp icon on there. One. Add it to my folder. Okay. And then what I'm going to do next, I'm going to zoom back out. And you can see there. Zoom out. There's that red icon of the trailhead. So then I'm going to jump to, I'm going to build a route here. We're going to start there. We're going to kind of click our way through. You can see it's picking up it again. It is open desert and it's picking up some other trails that are in there. But we're going to click to right there. That is by Chocolate Thunder where I want to check out. And then I'm just going to click here. And then there's to camp. And then say we're going to head back out. So it's a little out and back camping trip. And so you'll see I put together 14 miles off-road with some elevation gain, and we'll save that. We'll put that in folder, and then we will save it. So again, this is a much quicker version of planning a trip, but you'll see Andy and Hunter, there are my waypoints that I've put in, and then there's the route that I've drawn, and then from here, copy the link, and I'd send it off to Andy, and then we would pick what time we want to get there, and we'll be there, and we'll both be on the same page of the route. And the next step that I would do is my offline maps. What I like to do is I like to do a blanket big one where you can see my other ones, but just a large one that covers a large swath of land. For some reason, we have to go a completely different route than we're expecting, whether that's to get back to a different highway or the trail closure, whatever, I already have that loaded in. And then I will zoom back in here and I will drop in a high res. So that I like dropping those in places that I know are technical or I'm going to spend a lot of time in, such as camping, or I can zoom in and be able to spot out some other spots for, let's say that there's someone in the camping spot that I wanted to go. I can just jump back into the app and see some other clearings where we could disperse camp from there. So from there, I'll save it. Then I know that I'll need to open my phone, open the app, make sure that the downloads are finished on the device. And then from there, we're ready to go.
Cool. I know this might be hard to visualize on desktop, but there's been a few questions on Go and Track that I will try to answer. Hunter, if there's anything that I miss, feel free to cover me. But effectively, if you are wanting to record your own track, you can do that with the Go and Track feature. And if you go to the bottom right hand side of the menu, you'll see the Go and Track icon. You click on that and it will pull up a new window for you to track your ride. It will use GPS to do so. So you can be tracking with cell service or outside of cell service. It will give you your speed, elevation. I generally like to use Go and Track, even if I have pre-built a route, specifically because I might be out where the trail might get a little technical. Given my Land Cruiser, I'm not getting the best fuel economy, and I'm also not always taking out extra gas cans if I'm just out for an afternoon ride. But I do want to track my mileage to be able to get a sense for how far down the trail I've gone, and then just keeping an eye on fuel economy, etc. So, and then as Hunter's pulling up right now, once you've recorded that track and you've fully completed, you hit end, you save that track. That track, along with any content that you've saved, will be saved on your My Content folder or your My Content tab. So you can see we have Overland Adventure, we have other tracks that have been built. I mean, hundreds of tracks that is saved in this folder. So you can see the elevation, you can see the distance that was ran on that day 3 specifically. It's a nice way to visualize the trip. It's a nice way to go back if you want to relive a trip. And then also just if you want to share that track, you can share that out with a folder. It's really nice just to have. So make sure to be checking out the Go and Track. It is accessible via CarPlay or Android Auto if you are running an in-dash unit. All of these features you can access through CarPlay or Android Auto. So check that out, give it a whirl. There were a couple other questions that I did want to address. One second while I pull one of them. Let's see here. Yeah, in terms of, I also wanted, there was a couple questions on recent imagery because I think the eagle eyes out there saw recent imagery when you pulled up the base maps. So a few questions on base maps in general. So if you are curious about kind of filtering out your view and you have a particular way that you want to view your map, go to your base maps. It's the same icon for on both desktop and mobile. So you'll see the little map kind of accordion icon next to sat or satellite. And then if you click on that, it'll open up the base map options. So as Hunter said, you'll have satellite, hybrid, or topo. 2D, 3D. I personally love 3D, and I'm almost exclusively using 3D just to get the extra view and visibility. It doesn't always do it justice while we're presenting online, but it's looking pretty sharp now. You can see how great that contrast is once you pull up 3D, just to kind of get a perspective of the terrain that you are going to be going into. And then Hunter has recent imagery turned on. So one thing to know, this is an elite only feature. And for anyone here who doesn't know how our tiering structure works or how our product is kind of sliced and diced, we offer a free product where you're basically getting the very bare minimum features, and it's not really super useful to use. It's not fun to play around with. We offer a premium, which is $34.99. That's billed annually. You have access to the majority of everything Hunter has talked you through, except for private land data, recent imagery, which we're talking about right now, and the elite benefits. And we talked about the elite benefits with having brand partners like Warn, Method Wheels, Roof Nest, Roof Tents, and the list continues to grow by the month. But recent imagery is a feature that we just launched about a month ago. And what that is we are pulling in satellite imagery via third party that gets refreshed at a quicker rate. So that way you have a chance to see kind of like what's going on in the landscape around. So obviously, like, Hunter's showing you Colorado, gnarly winter that we've had. And you can see going back as far as May 15th, completely covered in snow. And we had a historic late snow season. As you start getting closer to today, you can see how the snow level is starting to melt off and rise. This is massively important and beneficial to anyone that's either in the high country and you need to be getting access to those ridge lines, mountain passes, alpine lakes, whatever, or if you're down in the valley and you might want to check just like what the water level is looking like. So snow line, water levels, it's a really great tool to use when planning your adventures. So be sure to check that out. Again, it's elite only, which is $100 a year billed annually. So check that out. Let's see if we have any other questions. And we're getting this a lot, so I'll cover it live. My Garage is coming to mobile very soon. The reason why there's a bit of a delay is we are adding power sports into the My Garage portal. So you might have noticed, for those eagle eyes and ears out there, we have not talked about it or really marketed My Garage. This has been a pilot that we've had live for almost a year now, just to see one, how the consumer likes it, kind of the benefits it's helping for you guys. But now that we're getting closer to launch at full scale, it will be live on mobile, as well as covering your power sports. So you'll have the ability to add your dirt bike, side-by-side, snowmobile. So all that's coming. Just be patient. It'll be another month or two until that's fully rolled out. And once it is, we will make sure to talk about it so you know when that comes to life. Let's see. We're going to wrap here in a second. Folks are starting to drop, and we don't want you to drop without an opportunity to get into the giveaway. So let's do this. I'm going to pull up the giveaway. Make sure that you guys, and I don't know if Dan, if you can give me a solid here and drop the link into the chat, but make sure to go into the link into the chat. The giveaway closes midnight tonight. It's a bandana. We will start refreshing the giveaways here in the near future with some even greater swag. There's no purchase necessary, but you will need an onX Offroad account. So a basic or free version is just fine. But remember that you will be getting kind of the bare minimum with the basic. But go in to the link that's going to be in the chat. Click that, enter to win. Entries close at midnight tonight. Hunter, can you see in the chat? Are we good with that link in there?
Yep, link is
Okay.
in there.
All right. And with that, we're going to close out by saying, please check us out across the socials. We're constantly doing stuff on Instagram, Facebook, ton of great content series coming out. I don't know, Hunter, do you want to give a quick recap just to the build challenge series that's been months of your life, which has been absolutely incredible? Do you want to give a quick plug to that?
So we had our onX Offroad build challenge that started in Moab with some stock rigs and people like Matt and Colt from Bleep and Jeep, and Rudy and Dave Chappelle and Nate from Dirt Lifestyle all put together some awesome rigs, and it's all on our YouTube now. We announced the winner. We announced them live, and they are actively on Ultimate Adventure as we speak. So there's a whole bunch of awesome stuff to watch. There's also a lot of educational stuff on how to use the app as well. So there's some fun stuff, some learning stuff. So definitely go check it out.
Grab a beverage, grab a snack, binge out on some off-road content. And what more could you want? Anyway, thanks for joining tonight. If you have any other questions, hit us up at help@onxmaps.com. Otherwise, we'll see you out on the trails. Go farther. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.